အဲ့ဒီမိကုန်းနဲ့စပြီးတော့ဒီနေ့ပိဋကနည်းနည်းဖြည့်ရှင်းပြီးတော့ပြကြမှာလားအဲ့ဒီယောဂီယုံမတန်တရားဖြစ်တယ်လို့တချို့ယောဂီလည်းပဲယုံမတန်တရားဖြစ်ဖို့ရရှိတယ်လို့ဘုန်းကြီးထင်ပါတယ်ဒီတော့ယုံမတန်တရားမကင်းတဲ့ယောဂီတွေယုံမတန်တရားလည်းကင်းသွားအောင်ငါကယုံကြည်ပြီးသားပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များလည်းပုံမူပြီးတော့စိတ်ချလက်ချယုံကြည်မှုတွေမြဲသွားအောင်လို့ဒီနေ့ဒီကံဖြည့်ရှင်းချက်ပေါ့လေဖြည့်ရှင်းချက်ကလေးအဲဒီယောဂီမေးခွန်းနဲ့စပ်ပြီးဖြည့်ရှင်းချက်ကလေးပြောပါမယ်
Sayadaw says, although today Sayadaw would like to continue the explanation of the practice of Satipatthana meditation, but various conditions Sayadaw has to break in between. Today also Sayadaw would like to continue the topic which he has started before, but there are some important aspects to explain to you. About the practice in which Sayadaw says, during the moment of practice, one shouldn't try to think. Thoughts shouldn't be allowed during the noting moment. Especially the Western people have the nature or habit among them to think everything whenever they confronted with some aspects. They naturally habituated to think most of the time, and therefore when Sayadaw said in his discourse in previous days not to think, and one should plunge into the object with sudden attack to get the object. In some of the meditators there arose some doubts because of that statement which Sayadaw has done. And today one of the yogis came for interview. Instead of describing, I don't know who is the person, whether he or she, but that yogi tried to ask various questions about the aspect of thinking, and she had some doubt or confusion in that aspect, and therefore she was asking various questions about the thinking process during the practice. And there might be other yogis who might have same kind of doubt. If doubt will be there, no one can get progress in their practice. Therefore, today Sayadaw would like to give some explanation to give proper understanding about that not thinking process during the practice. So today Sayadaw will try to explain about that matter.
တန်တရားရှိနေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေတန်တရားကင်းသွားအောင်တန်တရားကင်းနေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေပုံမှုပြီးတော့ယဉ်ကျေးမှုမြဲအောင်ကျိုးလေးထည့်ပြောလိုက်ပါ
And those who have doubt, to clear out their doubt, and those who have confidence in the practice, to strengthen their confidence. Therefore, Sayadaw would like to explain about that matter today.
ဘုန်းကြီးတို့ကပြောထားတာလက်တွေ့အလုပ်လုပ်တဲ့အခါနည်းနည်းမှမသိစားပါနဲ့ပေါ်လာတာမိမိရဲ့ရမှတ်ပါဆိုအဲ့ဒီစကားကျင့်တဲ့ပုံမပေါ်ဘူးသူကမေးပါတယ်အလုပ်လုပ်လို့ရှိရင်စဉ်းစားပြီးမှအလုပ်လုပ်လို့ဖြစ်တာပါတဲ့မစဉ်းစားဘဲနဲ့အလုပ်လုပ်လို့ဘယ်နည်းနဲ့ဖြစ်နေမှာမလဲတဲ့အဲ့ဒီကစပြီးတော့မေးတော့တာပဲ
And the yogi who asked the questions, that person may have doubt in the statement of Sayadaw that during the practicing moment, one shouldn't have any thinking. And the yogi has doubt, how can it be without thinking to do the practice?
ချိန်ကုန်ခံပြီးတော့စဉ်းစားတဲ့အလုပ်မျိုးဒါမျိုးမလိုအပ်ပါဘူးလောကမှာလည်းပဲအချိန်သုံးပြီးတော့စဉ်းစားမယ်အလုပ်တွေဆိုတာကြိုတင်တွေးစားမယ်အလုပ်တွေဆိုတာရှိပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါတွေကြတော့စဉ်းစားရပါတယ်အများနဲ့လည်းပဲတိုင်ပြီးညှိနှိုင်းရပါတယ်ပြီးတော့အနည်းငယ်စဉ်းစားပြီးတော့လုပ်ရတဲ့အလုပ်တွေဒါတွေရှိပါတယ်ဒါတွေတော့ဘုန်းကြီးတို့လက်ခံပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လို့အခုလိုသတိပဋ္ဌာန်လုပ်ကိုလက်တွေ့လုပ်နေတဲ့အခါမှာတော့နည်းနည်းလေးမှမစဉ်းစားဘဲနဲ့အလုပ်တွင်ကြအောင်လုပ်မှတတိဖြစ်ပြီးတော့တရားခီးရောက်နိုင်ပါတယ်အဲ့ဒါပထမဆုံးဘုန်းကြီးပြောချင်ပါတယ်
In our worldly life, there are many works which have to be thought previously to do anything. And to do those kinds of works, they need to consult with other people too. And there are some works which may not be necessarily need to think too much. Just ordinary thinking could help to do the works. But this Satipatthana practice is the practice in which, during the noting moment, there isn't necessary to add any kind of thinking. When there will arise one of the objects through the six sense doors, they just try to get the object immediately using their observing power and other mental forces to get precisely the object at the same time. There isn't necessary to add any kind of thought. Why, how, what? Not necessary to put such kind of question during that moment. That is what Sayadaw said in previous days also.
သူတော်မေကွန်းထုတ်တဲ့ယောဂီဟူတော့ဘုန်းကြီးကနီးလေးနဲ့တော့ပြောလိုက်ပါတယ်ရန်သူနောက်ကတက်ချလိုက်လာလို့ရန်သူကလွတ်အောင်စဉ်းစားနေလို့ဖြစ်ပါမလားလို့ရန်သူလွတ်ရာနေရာကိုစွပြေးဖို့ပဲရှိတယ်သဘောကတော့ တတိမထားပဲနဲ့အလကားနေလို့ရှိရင်ကိလေသာရန်သူတွေကနောက်ကနေတကောက်ကောက်လိုက်ပါနေတာခုကနှိမ့်ဆက်နေတာမြင်းပြက်ကပ်ပြီးတော့ပါလာတဲ့ကိလေသာတွေအနှိမ့်ဆက်ဖမ်းအချုပ်ကလွတ်အောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့ပေါ်တိုင်းအာယုံပေါ်ဆက်လိုက်ပြီးတော့ရှုမှတ်ခြင်းအပြင်စောက်ရှောက်ကာကွယ်ပေးပြီးတော့လုံခြုံတဲ့နေရာပြေးရတာပဲဒီမှာဒီလိုလွတ်တဲ့သဘောပဲမီးလောင်လာတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မီးလွတ်တဲ့နေရာပြေးရတယ်စဉ်းစားနေလို့မရဘူးဒီမှာစဉ်းစားနေမိတဲ့ပါတော့မှာပေါ့ခုနရန်သူနဲ့တွေ့တဲ့အခါစဉ်းစားနေရန်သူနှိမ့်ဆက်ခံရမှာပေါ့ဒီမှာအဲ့ဒါလိုနေရာကြတော့အချိန်ယူပြီးတော့စဉ်းစားဖို့မလိုဘူးအဲ့ဒါလိုနီးလေးနဲ့ပြောလိုက်တော့ယောဂီလည်းကျင့်တတ်တော့ပါတယ်
And to satisfy the yogi, Sayadaw gave an example. Suppose a person is there and he is chased by an enemy. What he should do? Should he try to think at the time this and that affairs, or just that person try to run away to escape from his enemy? During that moment, it is necessary for that person at first to escape from his enemy. Therefore, he has to run away from his enemy to the safety place. Then only he will be free from that enemy. In the same way, in our life, there are various defilements which are chasing to us, running after to us. If we try to think various aspects during that period and not try to escape from that defilement enemy, then that enemy will catch us and put into trouble to us. Therefore, it is necessary to run away at first from that enemy. To do that, whenever there will be some object arising, if we are careless, then the enemy will be there to take the moment to arise within that period, and being mindful or being aware at that moment not to arise any kind of defilements, so thinking process should be stopped at that time and just try to use the awareness and note precisely that object. In that way we can escape from the enemy of defilement. And when Sayadaw explained in that way, the yogi might have some satisfaction.
ပြီးတော့ဒီအလုပ်ဟာလဲ blind faith ပေါ့လေဒီလိုယုံကြည်မှုနဲ့မြက်ကန့်ယုံကြည်မှုနဲ့လုပ်ရတဲ့ကိစ္စမျိုးမဟုတ်ပါဘူးဘုရားကိုယ်တိုင်ကသတိပဋ္ဌာန်တရားအထုတ်လို့တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များအထုတ်နေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များအတ္တတရားဖြစ်ရေးအတွက်သတိပဋ္ဌာန်သုံးရဲ့အစចេတနာရဲ့အစမှာလေးကအကျိုးတွေပြပြီးတော့ဟောထားတာပဲ
And the Satipatthana insight practice is not the practice which should be followed just only with blind faith. There isn't any blind faith in the practice, because the Buddha himself, before he instructed the Satipatthana Sutta to his disciples, he showed various advantages from the beginning.
အဲ့ဒီအကျိုးကတော့ခုနှစ်မျိုးတော့ပြထားပါတယ်အတူချုပ်ပြောရလို့ရှိရင်တော့တတ္တဝါတွေမှာလောဘဒေါသအစရှိတဲ့စိတ်အငြိကြေးတွေကင်းဝေးစင်ကြယ်ဖို့ပြီးတော့သောကတွေလုံမြောက်ငြိမ်းသွားဖို့ပရိဒီဝါတွေတန်တငူကျွေးမှုတွေငြိမ်းဖို့ကိုယ်ဆင်းရဲတွေချုပ်ငြိမ်းဖို့စိတ်နှလုံးမတန်ရာမှုတွေချုပ်ငြိမ်းဖို့နောက်ဆုံးလူတိုင်းအမြဲတမ်းဒုက္ခပေးနေတဲ့ရှင်ရဲ့ချင်းအကြောင်းကိလေသာတွေကိုအပြတ်ရှင်းနိုင်တဲ့အရိယာမေရဖို့နဲ့နိဗ္ဗာန်မျက်မှောက်ပြုဖို့ဆိုတာအကျိုး9မျိုးပြထားတာပဲပြီးတော့လုံနည်းလို့ဟန်တွေပါပြထားတာပဲအဲ့ဒီလိုအခါမျိုးမှာတော့လုံနည်းဟောလုံနည်းလုံဟန်တွေကိုနာကြတဲ့အခါအကျိုးတွေကိုစဉ်းစားတဲ့အခါမျိုးမှာတော့စဉ်းစားမှုကတော့လိုလိမ့်မယ်လေကိုယ်ပိုင်ဉာဏ်နဲ့ဓမ္မလက်ခံပြီးတော့စဉ်းစားရမှာကိုအဲဒီမှာအတည်ပြုဆုံးဖြတ်ချက်ချရမှာကိုအဲဒီလိုအခါမျိုးမှာတော့စဉ်းစားမှုလိုပါတယ်ဆိုလိုတာကတော့ကျင့်နည်းမှန်ကိုလေ့လာတဲ့အခါမှာစဉ်းရင်သုံးသပ်မှုလိုပါတယ်စဉ်းစားမှုလိုပါတယ်ကျင့်နည်းမှန်ကိုနားလည်ပြီးတော့ဒီကျင့်နည်းတိုင်းကျင့်လို့ရရှိနိုင်တဲ့အကျိုးတွေကိုယုံကြည်သွားလို့ရှိရင်တော့နည်းနည်းမှစဉ်းစားဖို့မလိုတော့ပါဘူးအဲ့ဒီနှစ်ပိုင်းခွဲပြီးတော့နားလည်ဖို့လိုပါတယ်ပထမဆုံးကျင့်နည်းမှမသိတဲ့အဝိဇ္ဇာကိုကြားနာလေ့လာဆွေးနွေးခြင်းအပြင်ပယ်ဖြောက်ဖြစ်ဖို့ကိုယ်ရဲ့အသိစရာတွေကိုမရှုလို့မသိမှုကိုတော့ရှုမှတ်ပြီးတော့အမြဲပြရှုမှတ်ပြီးတော့သိအောင်လုပ်ဖို့အဲ့ဒီနှစ်ပိုင်းတွေကပထမစာပေပိုင်းမှာတော့စဉ်းစားဆင်ခြင်မှုလိုတယ်လက်တွေ့ပိုင်းမှာတော့စဉ်းစားဆင်ခြင်မှုမလိုပါဘူး
Sayadaw says in brief the Buddha described 7 benefits of this Satipatthana insight practice. When one practices Satipatthana insight practice, they are cleansing their mind, keeping away the root defilements such as greed, hatred, delusion, and the other defilements. Then they will gain the purity of mind. That is the first benefit which has shown by the Buddha himself in the beginning of his instruction or guidance. And through the practice, one can overcome sorrow and lamentation, or we may say distress. And again, they can gain another benefit. They can put away their physical pains and mental pain or sadness. They can extinguish them. And through the practice, one can discover the real path. After that, they will gain the calm and quiet state of mind, being free from all sorts of defilements. And they can realize in the end the actual Nibbana, where there is no more sufferings. In this way, there are these 5 benefits explained by the Buddha, not only he described the benefits of the practice, even he explained how to follow the practice, how to do the practice. While we are studying all these aspects, the way to practice and the benefits to know, at that time it is necessary to think what kind of benefit we can gain through the practice and how to do the practice. To have understanding, at first we need to listen to the technique of the practice and then try to study it textually to have proper understanding without mistake in the practice. In this way, when we are learning all these matters, you can think at the time. But after having such understanding and knowing the way of practice, while you are directly approaching to the practical practice, then there won't be necessary to add any kind of thought, any kind of imaginations and thinking in your real practice. That is what Sayadaw would like to explain, to have understanding why he was forcefully saying that you shouldn't think during the moment of practice.
ရတာကောင်းလေးစားစဲမှာစားဝယ်ရတစ်ခုခုပေါ့လေမစားဘူးတဲ့အစားတိတိပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်အခြားစားဝယ်ရတစ်ခုပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်မိမိရှက်ရှက်ကြီးစားတော့နေတဲ့အခါဒီစားဘယ်ဖြစ်တာလဲဘယ်လိုလုပ်တာလဲတီဘယ်မှာစိုက်တာလဲဘယ်လိုစိုက်တာလဲဘယ်လိုလုပ်ရတယ်လဲစသည်ပေါ့လေစီးစစ်နေလို့ရှိရင်မှစားတဲ့အရာတွေပြည့်သွားမှာပေါ့ဒီကမလို့စိတ်ချတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာဒီစားကောင်းတယ်လို့ပြောထားလို့ရှိရင်ညီညီရှက်ရှက်နဲ့ဘာမှမတွေးတော့မစင်ရင်မဲနဲ့ဝရတဲ့အထိပဲစားနေရမှာပဲဒါလိုပဲအမကံကျရှိထားတဲ့ဒီအလုပ်ကိုဒီတိုင်းလာမှတ်နေပါဒီတိုင်းလာမှတ်နေလို့ရှိရင်တရားရတာဒီတွေ့လာမှာပဲဆိုရင်ဒီတိုင်းလုပ်ဖို့ရှိတာပေါ့ဒါကဘာလဲဘယ်လိုလဲဘာကြောင့်လဲဆိုတာစဉ်းစားလို့ရှိရင်အလုပ်ပဲဖြစ်တော့မယ်တတိလည်းပဲဖြစ်တော့မယ်တတိမဖြစ်ရင်သမာဓိလည်းမဖြစ်တော့ဉာဏ်လည်းပဲမလာနိုင်ဘူးပေါ့
For example, Sayadaw says, suppose you are taking some delicious food or fruit. At the time, if you try to think from where this fruit came, how it was planted, how it was grown, and how it was distributed to the market, and so on and so forth, could you get real taste of that fruit which you are taking at that moment? If you really want to gain such delicious taste of that fruit, you shouldn't think anymore at that time. I think you don't have such habit also, although you might be Westerners. You just take the fruit and try to taste the deliciousness of it. Then only you will enjoy how delicious the fruit is. Because you know previously that someone told to you the fruit is very delicious one. If you have doubt in their saying, and if you are doubting during the tasting of that fruit, no enjoyment will come. In the same way, the practice is really delicious one. And if you try to think this and that, what, how and why, how you can taste the delicious taste of that practice? No way to gain real taste at that moment. That is why Sayadaw is saying it is not necessary to think any kind of thought. It is not necessary to add any kind of imagination during the real practice. Just try to get the real taste of the practice. That is how it is not necessary to think during the moment of precise noting, because you are trying to gain concentration, you are trying to develop your observing power or awareness. If you just try to get the object precisely and accurately, development and of concentration and development of awareness will be there. When there will be precise concentration and precise awareness in your noting, then you can see how tasteful the practice.
ဒီနေ့အဲ့ဒီအရာသာကိုသိလို့နဲ့ဒီပါတယ်ယောဂီတယောက်ကသူ့ရဲ့အတွေ့အကြုံချက်တွေကိုတင်ပြခြင်းလို့အတ္တတရားနဲ့လာပါတယ်ဘာသာပြန်တကာကြီးနဲ့လာပြီးတော့ရှောက်ပါတယ်သူဟာသိမှတ်လို့ကောင်းနေတယ်သူကြည့်ရတာလည်းသူကကြွကြွနဲ့တခါတည်းပြုံးဖြစ်နေတာအသေးဖွဲလေးတွေကအစမှတ်နိုင်တယ်စိတ်လည်းမထွက်တော့ဘူးတဲ့သိကောင်းနေတယ်ဘာဆက်လုပ်ပါမလဲတဲ့သူကပြောတယ်ဒါတရားရတာတွေ့လို့ပေါ့ဒီရတာတွေတွေ့တော့သူ့မှာသိထူးဆန်းနေတာပဲဒါနဲ့ဘုန်းကြီးကတော့ပြောလိုက်ပါတယ်ပင်ကိုချောနေတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဘာမှအထူးပြုခြင်းမလိုပါဘူးလို့အလှမပြတ်အောင်ပဲဆက်ထိန်ဖို့ပဲလိုရတယ်ဆိုကျင့်ပြီးတော့သူထပ်ပါပါတယ်
Today again another yogi came with smiling face and happy mood. He seemed so energetic and so inspired because of the taste of the practice. And he was trying to find out the interpreter Umyatang here and there. He was so full of strength, seemed so full of strength at that time, and he wanted to describe how enjoyable the taste of the practice. So that is why he was trying to get Umyatang. And later he got Umyatang and went to Sayadaw and explained, Venerable Sir, today my noting is so precise and so clear and so marvelous. Each and every object is clear and easy to note whatever object comes. Immediately I can note it. Venerable Sir, after this, what should I do? Then Sayadaw says to that yogi, "Oh my dear, you don't need to do anything. Suppose if a person is handsome himself, do he need to beautify himself?" And Sayadaw also urged him, just try to keep in safe your beauty. And he had got satisfaction and stand up and came back.
The yogi dile the Ramya she got it added the only shout at him. That's the Atu Niha. Yada the eminent Kaumare, so if we are Amakamare. That's why we are good and level Amakan Harabe. Sonya Gara Puitasa Santa Chidasa Bikuno Ama Nusi Rti Hoti Samadhama Upasato Singing Tana Chinkaviro Nilang Manzua body Gurega Pipetmia Yunan Diari Pisela Viro Mimia Swezemia Shumago Titi needed a Pokuma. Kuna Yogi Logo. Bama looked at Michu, but they were in the Asakon Dini. A Pokuma Santa Chitas Yagan, 6 Lusharam Shiu, Dodan 6 Lusharam Shiu. A Shaja Kili, if you will 6 Lusharam Shiu. Nay, be the come with a channel. Sika, pure Shumbiro, Yupa the Carego. To the P. Mianhama, Biala, Shuna. As it will come, you marry. Say, come a dinner, do the Lumapia name, the way go chana. Luke Kamakun chana. Beer name. Breathing on Kone Chanda, Dira Kone Kamu Chanda. Very Kamu Chanda. A Savomias Tare Mabian and the Megon Chanda, Eddie Chanda, Eddie Epio Mu, Yala that day, Messoria, Amakan Japi Hotel. Pelupoku Muma Les Ravana Giomia Bene Wana Megoni, Miaven, Messenza Bene, Secha Lecha, Maves Video, Young Gigi, Atoni the Poco. Atoni, we are the Ditamari, Kauna, Sikoni, to the Lada, Tajina City Filla. Tajina City Filla, I've never seen a Chinaka video, the Wohan, Chigansa video. Dila, to the Yiklebo, Yiklep, cut the Uria Yamano Yola with Solution. Every open yola de Kama. My being in it, the Megong Chanda, a Chanda Mivia.
There are not only 1 or 2 yogis who are enjoying in such a way the blissful taste of the practice. Many yogis are there who have same sort of experiences in their practice. That's why the Buddha himself described the taste of the practice, those who really follow the instruction and do the practice. The yogis who are entering into a secluded place and they are controlling their whole senses and trying to note each and every objects as physical and mental phenomena, whatever may arise, using precise aiming, accurate noting, and developing gradually concentration and awareness, and seeing the nature of the physical and mental phenomena, the nature of impermanence, the nature of suffering, and the nature of not self. And if he really use the insight practice in appropriate way, then the yogi can gain such blissful state of mind in which there won't be any restlessness coming through his mind. His mind becomes calm and quiet and peaceful. And he will enjoy the enjoyable taste of the practice, which is beyond the taste of the sensuous pleasures. Sayadaw says, the sensuous pleasures are full of dangers. Even one can face death because of the sensuous pleasures. Therefore, the sensuous pleasures are dangerful pleasures. But the pleasure which may come through the practice of insight, and when one enjoys the actual taste of that practice, it becomes unrelinquishable for him or her. They never want to give up the taste of the practice. It is true, to have such kind of profit in the practice, one shouldn't be the person who argues too much and doesn't want to follow the instruction and have a lot of judgment whether it should be or whether that would be, which way, this way or that way, all sorts of arguments. If there may come in his mind and he doesn't, or he or she doesn't want to follow the instruction, then they cannot have that kind of taste. But those who are honest and sincere and have confidence in the guideline, that do the practice according to the instruction, they will gain gradual development to have proper concentration and to have proper observing power. And they will gradually obtain the stages, various stages of insight. When they reach to the knowledge of arising and passing away, they will feel such tasteful, enjoyable taste as the Buddha stated, which Sayadaw has explained before. Sayadaw says to recite the verse which the Buddha expounded. Sunyagaram pavittassa santacittassa bhikkhuno amanusirati hoti samma dhammang vipassato. That means one who enters into the seclusion place and does the insight practice as it is instructed, following the right path, the yogi will obtain Santa Chitta, the calm and quiet and peaceful mind, which is beyond the enjoyment or beyond the pleasure of the human being, and he will gain the unrelinquishable enjoyment in the practice.
အဲ့ဒီမှာထပ်မှပြီးတော့နည်းနည်းရှင်းရမယ်ဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒီစန္တจิตတာဆိုတာအမှန်ကောင်းတာပဲအများစုလူတွေဟာကမ္ဘာပေါ်မှာရှိတဲ့လူအများစုဟာတတ်မဲ့စရာကြာကားဖြစ်စရာအာယုန်နဲ့တွေ့လို့ရှိရင်ကြာကားတွေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့လှုပ်ရှားတယ်အိမ်ကြီးမရဘူးနောက်ပိုင်းမှာလည်းပဲအဲ့ဒီအာယုန်ရရှိရေးအတွက်ကြာစီရတာစိတ်တွေပြင်ပန်းတာမသက်တာဘူးတရားသဖြင့်ရရင်ကိစ္စမရှိဘူးလွယ်လွယ်နဲ့ရရင်ကိစ္စမရှိဘူးလွယ်လွယ်နဲ့မရဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မတရားမှုတွေနောက်ပိုင်းဖြစ်လာတာလည်းပဲဒါတွေလည်းမသက်တာလားထို့အတူမကျေနပ်เสียမုန်းเสียနဲ့တွေ့ပြီဆိုရင်ဒေါသတွေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့စိတ်တွေမငြိမ်မသက်နဲ့လှုပ်ရှားတာမသက်တာမာနတွေမနာလိုမှုဝန်တိုမှုတွေစသည်အများကြီးပါပဲတတိမရှိဘူးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကြာကနဲ့စိတ်တွေလှုပ်ရှားလိုက်မငြိမ်မသက်ဖြစ်လိုက်ဒေါသတွေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့စိတ်တွေမလှုပ်ရှားမငြိမ်သက်ဖြစ်လိုက်တာဘယ်လူအေးချမ်းနေရှိမလဲဘယ်ငြိမ်သက်တယ်ရှိမလဲဘယ်အိန္ဒိယတယ်ရှိမလဲစိတ်ဟာဘယ်မှမမျှဘူးကြာကဖြစ်เสียနဲ့တွေ့လို့ရှိရင်လည်းဟိုဘက်ပါသွားတာပြောတဲ့ဘက်ပါသွားတာဒေါသဖြစ်เสียနဲ့စိတ်မချမ်းစိတ်လုံးမချမ်းသာเสียနဲ့တွေ့ပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်စိတ်ဒီမချမ်းမသာနဲ့ဟိုဘက်ပါသွားတာပဲကောင်းဆိုးလောကဓာတ်နှစ်ခုကြားထဲမှာလူဘဝဆိုတာအဲ့ဒါလိုအနေဒီအခြေအနေရှိတယ်ဘုလူဘဝဆိုတာဘောင်မင်ခတ်နေတာပဲညီမမညီတဲ့ပဲဟောဒီသတိပဋ္ဌာန်တရားတော်တော်လေးအခြေချကြအထုတ်ထားလို့ရှိရင်ပြောစရာရှင်စရာရာဂပစ္စယနဲ့တွေ့လည်းပဲတော်တော်လေးထိမ့်နိုင်တယ်စိတ်နှလုံးမချမ်းသာစရာနဲ့တွေ့လို့ရှိရင်လည်းပဲတော်တော်လေးထိမ့်နိုင်တယ်ဘယ်မြတ်စွာထားနိုင်တယ်တော့ဘယ်မြတ်စွာထားနိုင်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဘောကအမှန်တရားညနှုတ်စရာကောင်းတဲ့ဘောမျိုးပဲဟောဒီသတိပဋ္ဌာန်တရားကအဲ့ဒါလိုဘယ်မြတ်စွာစိတ်ကိုဘယ်မြတ်စွာထားနိုင်တဲ့ဘောမျိုးရဲရဲတင်းတင်းအမကချက်ပေးပါတယ်
In that verse which the Buddha described about the enjoyable benefit of the practice, the word which is used by the Buddha to show the actual benefit of the practice is the Santa Chitta. That means having the calmed and cool mind. This word is really important word. In this world, most of the people, they don't possess that calm and cool, peaceful mind. They are all the time restless. They couldn't have any kind of control. They couldn't subside their various mental attitudes. Whenever they get pleasurable, desirable, agreeable objects, immediately in their mind arises lust, a craving, or greed, or attachment, because of which restlessness arises in their mind. And to enjoy that pleasurable thing, they have to struggle to gain them. It cannot be gained easily without hard struggle. They have to work various ways. They have to run here and there. And again, if they can get that pleasurable thing in lawful way, then all right. If not, and they may act unlawfully, and there will be trouble and danger for them. They cannot get away from that danger and trouble. And all the time their mind is in restless state. They cannot have free mind, peaceful mind, calm and cool mind. Again, if they get the object which is not pleasurable one and disagreeable one, then also in their mind arises hatred, ill will, revenge-taking thoughts, resentments, all sorts of these gross type of defilements arise immediately. They cannot control them not to arise because they don't know how to keep them aside, how to control them, how to subside them. And that also brings them a lot of trouble and a lot of danger. And they have to face with suffering. In this way, there may arise various defilements, such as pride, conceit, envy, jealousy, and so on and so forth. When these defilements are overwhelming to them, how they can have the calm and cool and peaceful moment of mind? All the time there will be unresting mind, restless mind. And during that moment, no one can enjoy the actual enjoyment. But the practice is not like that. The practice is there to give you the actual strength to see clearly each and every moment through the power of effort, concentration, and observing power or awareness. When some object arises, which may be pleasurable or unpleasurable one, if you have such awareness to see clearly with precise intention, having proper aiming and directed mind towards the object, no such defilements could arise. And you can have well-controlled mind. And you will have proper balance to keep the pleasurable and unpleasurable in calm and cool state, in peaceful condition. You couldn't be overwhelmed by the worldly conditions, pleasure and pain. You can have equanimous state of mind. That is the important thing which you gain through the practice. The balance is not easy to obtain without the practice. Therefore, this Satipatthana practice is the practice through which one can have proper control of their mind and in their life. It possesses full assurance to give such kind of benefit.
ဒီနေ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့တာရကတစ်ခုပြောရမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကယ်လီဖိုးနီးယားယောဂီတယောက်ဘုန်းကြီးကိုဝန်ခံပြီးတော့ပြောဥပါတယ်သူဟာတဲ့ခက်ရွယ်ရွယ်ကငါးပါးသီလလည်းပဲမလွန်ခဲ့ပါဘူးတဲ့သူတော့အလုပ်လုပ်လို့တော့ကောင်းတယ်ငွေတွေလည်းအများကြီးရတယ်တဲ့မရချောချောလေးလည်းရတယ်တဲ့ဒါပေမဲ့လို့သူစိတ်မချမ်းသာခဲ့ဘူးတဲ့ငွေဝင်ကောင်းပေမဲ့လို့ငွေရနေမယ်လို့နည်းနည်းမှစိတ်မချမ်းသာဘူးပူပန်မှုတွေအများကြီးရှိနေတာပဲအဲ့ဒါလိုရှိနေတော့မှအဲ့ဒီလိုဖြစ်နေတော့မှသူ့ရဲ့မယားကသူစုဆောင်းထားတဲ့ပစ္စည်းတွေယူပြီးတော့တခြားလူနဲ့လိုက်သွားပါရောတဲ့သူတော့ပက်လက်လန်ကြားနေခဲ့တယ်ပူလိုက်တာတဲ့ကမှပဲနောက်ငါးပါးသီလပြည့်စုံပြီးတော့အခုသတိပဋ္ဌာန်ဘာဝနာတရားတွေအထုတ်တဲ့အခါစိတ်ပဲမြတ်သွားတယ်တာမအာဇီဝအလုံးနဲ့လည်းပဲသူ့မှာအလုပ်တွေဖြောင်းပြီးတော့အခုမှချမ်းသာတယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းပြောတာပါအခုဒုတိယရရှိထားတဲ့မယားအကြောင်းပြုပြီးတော့သူ့မှာလမ်းကြောင်းဖြောက်ပြီးတော့ပေါ့လေဘဝပဲမြတ်သွားတယ်ဗမာနည်းနဲ့ပြောရမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ပြစ်တိုင်းတော်ဘဝပေါ့လေပြစ်တိုင်းတော်ဘဝမျိုးသူရောက်သွားပါလေဆိုရဒါဆိုလိုတာပါပဲ
One shadow has some experiences which he has heard from a yogi from California, and he told to Sayadaw with strong assurance that, Venerable Sir, when I was quite young, I couldn't properly protect the 5 precepts, and I couldn't observe them. But I have good work, and I can earn a lot of money, and I had beautiful wife. So I have everything to enjoy the worldly pleasures. But at that time, I didn't have any real pleasure and happiness in my life. Later on, one evidence occurred to my life. The beautiful wife took everything, whatever he possessed, and ran away from me. At that time, my heart was burning so much. Very difficult to bear that burning sensation of heart. So difficult it was, and so troublesome the condition of my life at that time. Later on, fortunately, he went to do the practice of insight, and he can protect and observe the 5 precepts well, and he married second wife, Now he has well-balanced mind because of the practice. Really, this practice gives actual balance of life. So whatever situation might be there, I can cope with them. In such a way, I had obtained well-balanced mind through the practice. Therefore, the practice is marvelous one.
ဘယ်မှာမိနစ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ပြတိုင်းတော့ပေါ်မျိုးရအောင်လုပ်ပေးပါတယ်။
ပြတိုင်းတော့ဘယ်လိုခေါ်မလဲလေ။ Huh? Ever standing doll. So the Sayadaw says his life became like the doll. If you throw it, it stands up again. It never get down. So if you throw it, again stands up. If you throw it, again stands up. So his life also never get down. So therefore, our devotee Umyadang said ever standing doll.
အဲ့လိုအခြေအနေမျိုးကတော့ယဟနာဖြစ်မှာပဲလုံးဝခံနိုင်ရှိပါတယ်။ဟိုတုံ့ထုတ်ခြင်းမရှိဘူး။ဒါပေမဲ့လို့ကိုယ်အတိုင်းအတာနဲ့ကိုယ်ပေါ့လေထိုက်တန်သမျှတော့ခံနိုင်ရှိပါတယ်ဒီမှာတုံ့ထုတ်ဆရာကြီးနဲ့တွေ့လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့ထိုက်တန်သမျှတော့တုံ့ထုတ်တာပေါ့။ဒါပေမဲ့လို့တတိနဲ့ထိချုပ်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင်ခန္ဓာတုံ့ထုတ်မှုတွေကတော့ဖြည်းဖြည်းအားနဲ့လျော့ပါပြီးတော့စိတ်ချမ်းသာမှုဖြစ်ကြတယ်အေးချမ်းနေခဲ့ပါတယ်ဒီမှာ။အဲ့ဒါတော့ကိုယ်အတိုင်းအတာနဲ့ကိုယ်တော့ပြတိုင်းတော့ကိုယ်ကမျိုးရတာပါတယ်နော်ဒီအခြေအနေမျိုးရတယ်ဆိုရင်ဒါဘောကဟာတည်ငြိမ်နေတာကောင်းနေတာပဲဒီမှာဒါအရေးကြီးတာပဲ
Real balance of mind and real equanimous condition of mind could be gained when you reach to the highest knowledge of understanding or the path of fruition, knowledge of holiness. But before that also, if you have proper control in your mind through the practice, and you have well-observing awareness, you can balance your mind in various troublesome situations. That benefit you can gain through the practice. If you want to gain actual balance of mind and actual peace of mind, you have to try to reach to the highest stage of the understanding. To really have the ever-standing doll in your hand.
ဒီနေ့တနားဖြည့်သွားပါပြီနောက်ခါကြာမှာပဲဆက်လက်ပြီးတော့ကြောက်ဖြည့်ရှင်းပါဦးမယ်ဒီနေ့ဒါတော့လည်းရကြပါ
Sayadaw says 1 hour is completed, so today we will stop the discourse now.